Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. We are getting ready to kick off tonight's live stream show. It is Sunday night, April 16th at 7:31 p.m. and we are getting started live on tonight's live stream show. That's Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Appreciate y'all tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to be talking fishing, giving away free stuff, and answering your questions live during the show. Plus, of course, talking about the weather, talking about some upcoming events, talking about some other great stuff related to inshore, nearshore, and offshore fishing. And we appreciate you hanging out and joining us and making this show possible. Want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinnells Point Drive South in St. Pete. Definitely the ones who make this all go around, along with our supporters group. Really appreciate all of those who are supporters, who really help fuel the live show and make the live show possible. And then, of course, all the great star senders who help fuel the show as well. Tonight so far, we've got Jim Evans, Steve Batchelor, Larry White, Yukimi Barker, Scott Flynn, Tegwin Stockdale, Glenn Foster, Richard Blazak, and then we've got Nick Nieves in the Skyway Fishing Club with 2,200 stars so far tonight, and D. Beers with 3,000. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate the star senders and the supporters, and of course our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle for making the show possible, guys. So really appreciate y'all tuning in and hanging out with us for our Sunday night live stream show, where we answer your questions live if you text the question to the phone number on the screen. And we give away over $1,500 in free stuff. If you comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, you're eligible to win. Now you can watch on the Hubbard's Marina Twitch channel, on our Trovo channel, on our TikTok, on our Instagram, on our YouTube, on our Facebook. But if you comment once on Facebook, you're entered for a chance to win. So thanks for tuning in and hanging out. Sam Lang, what's up, my brother? How are you doing tonight? And there's Nick Nieves. Can't be denied, 3,400 stars. So he's pulling away with the lead. What's up, Christine and Rick? Appreciate those stars as well, guys. So thank you so much for all you guys do and for making this show possible. With that, let's make sure we get into the photos. Now, we have some extra photos tonight because last week we missed you guys. We didn't have the show because of Easter, so we've got double the photos, double the week. So this is 2 weeks of inshore photos. Then we're going to work our way nearshore and offshore, show you guys what we've been catching out there, and then we're going to get into some upcoming events and your questions. So make sure if you have a question, text it to the phone number on the screen. So let's get started and show you guys what we've been catching. And I don't think my stream deck is working, Josh, but the photos are going to be worth the wait. Trust me, guys, because we got some good ones. All right, let's see here. No shot. There we go. Now it's working. So right now, definitely seeing some of these big flounder lately. We've been seeing some nice flounder around the pass, and pretty excited about the flounder bite picking up and getting better around those sandy drops, and really seeing some good flounder ambushes around dock pilings, bridge pilings, and any structure that might hold bait is holding some potential flounder ambushes. We've seen a lot of mackerel around the beaches, the passes, our beach fishing piers, some of those deeper grass flats where there's fast moving water and bait present around the bay. Pompano on the beaches has been fired up. The last few days haven't really seen them too much, but it should be picking back up now that the new moon's coming around. Definitely been seeing a lot of pompano from a lot of different passes. Here you can see the Sand Key Bridge, Johns Pass Bridge, Blinds Pass, Paso Grill, the Anna Maria Rod and Reel Pier, all good areas to find those pompano. We're seeing some real nice redfish action throughout the entire area. Redfish bite has been hot from the back bays to the mangrove shorelines to the dock lines. We're seeing some big redfish make their way into the passes and on the beaches. The other morning, we were live doing our morning update in front of the bridge, and our friend Taria caught herself a nice redfish on that little short 5-minute live video, which was pretty crazy and pretty cool to see. So definitely been seeing some redfish move into the passes and on the beaches. The snook action, same thing. They're pouring out of the back bay. We're seeing more and more snook around Hubbard's Marina's main dock, around the Johns Pass Bridge, and of course around our beautiful passes too. Still plenty of snook in the back bay, but a good number have pushed out onto the beaches, and we're seeing more and more fill in behind them. Now, this doesn't look like it, but that is actually a topwater fly. So not only was this snook caught on a fly fishing rod, but it was caught on a topwater. So if you've ever caught a snook on a topwater lure, it's amazing. They explode on that topwater bait. It's a really exciting way to catch a snook. And then multiply that again exponentially with the fact that it was a fly fishing topwater lure. So really exciting strike and catch for that lucky local angler. Lots of snook around, as you can see. Daytime, nighttime, back bay, beaches, passes, it doesn't much matter. And there is a nice monster snook. This one was 42 inches, caught by a local charter captain and his client on a charter. His name is C12 on Instagram. And I think his first name is Chris. Really good guy, and sent us that photo for the show. Big old snook they caught on a soft plastic. Some nice trout action around. We're seeing the trout push back onto the bays. Push back out of the bays into a little deeper water. We're seeing them around the docks, the bridge, the jetty. We're seeing some of those trout at night, especially coming up on that new moon. We should see some really good nighttime action around some of our docks, around some of our artificial light sources. We'll concentrate the bait and then probably make that trout bite even that much better come this new moon, which is going to be Thursday. So new moon Thursday, typically a really good nighttime bite. Want to give a shout out to some of our star senders that we had while we're showing those first couple photos. We had Lance Hall with 1,200, Richard Bedwell with 1,000, LaShonda Brown, what's going on, LaShonda with 1,300, and Christina Hall with a big 1,200. Appreciate you guys, and thank you everyone for all the stars tonight, making the show fueled up for another great week. Now we are ready to work our way from inshore to nearshore and off and show you guys what we've been catching nearshore and off. So let's see what we're seeing out a little deeper. We've definitely been seeing these big trigger fish. The 44-hour full moon trip out there Easter weekend did pretty darn well. The 39-hour trip that came in this morning did pretty darn well. Caught some real nice trigger fish. We've got a brand new captain at Hubbard's Marina. He might be small, but he's ready to make a big splash in the fishery. Captain Stepstool Mike Splash Baker has got a fresh 100-ton captain's license, so make sure everybody gives Captain Splash a good round of applause. Speaking of captains, we've got Captain Pete here, our second captain on our 39-hour with a big African pompano. We've got Captain Seabass with a handful of hogfish on a recent Hub private fishing charter. We've been seeing some nice fat red grouper out deep. Still a pretty decent hogfish bite in the nearshore waters. They've slowed down a little bit, but we're still catching some nice hogfish. The kingfish bite has been okay. Not crazy, but we're seeing some nice ones. This was the biggest, closest to shore kingfish we've seen recently. This was just a few miles off the shore. I want to say it was like within 3 miles of the coast. Really, really nice kingfish on a half-day trip. We've seen a lot of the schoolie-sized kingfish, even out there in the deep water. There's like a 5-pound kingfish. No, I'm just kidding. It was a decent kingfish, but splash makes him look big. Some nice big red grouper, like I've been saying. The red grouper bite's going well out there in deep water. We're doing well on the 12-hour extreme, the 12-hour or the Flying Hub 2 private charters, the Hub private charters, the 12-hour extremes, the 39-hour trips. Really, really doing well, crushing some fat red grouper. And we're seeing big mangrove snapper, nice triggerfish, big vermilions, nice porgies, some throwback gag grouper, and then, of course, some really big scamp grouper. And we've got a scamp grouper photo coming up very, very soon from our buddy from Houston, Texas. Caught himself a nice big scamp grouper. We're going to see that in a minute. David Pruitt here from Atlanta, showing off a fat red grouper. Some nice African pompano have been caught too. Joe Carney got himself a nice one. Capt Pete with a second. Damian Simmons from Atlanta with a nice African pompano. Big blackfin tuna recently too. Some pretty good size ones. Big mangrove snappers. Some solid mutton snapper. Big triggerfish. Nice scamp grouper. These are my favorite eating fish. These big scamp grouper are awesome. Been seeing nice triggerfish, which is definitely top 5 good eating fish. One of my favorites, top 5, I would say. Right up there with yellowtail snapper. And we've been seeing some good yellowtail snapper action as well. So good opportunities. And here's our buddy all the way over from Houston, Texas. He makes the drive to join us and got himself a big old scamp grouper. Beautiful fish. One of my favorite eating, and just an absolutely stud specimen right there. Beautiful scamp grouper. So great way to end the photos there on that big, beautiful scamp. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all the extra photos. That's what we get for taking a week off for Easter. We had tons of extra awesome pics to share with you. Now, again, want to make sure we encourage people to comment, because that's how you get entered for a chance to win. So don't forget to drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. But if you're watching on Trovo, if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to drop a comment there too. And of course, TikTok as well. We're streaming live to TikTok tonight as well. So make sure you comment there as well. And if you're watching on TikTok, don't forget to like our page. Don't forget to share the stream for us as well. We're trying to reach more people on TikTok, because once we get to 10,000 followers, likes, or whatever on, I think it's followers, right, Josh? Yeah, followers on TikTok, we'll be able to use our computer and have a much higher quality stream to TikTok. So we're working hard on that. And our Snapchat too, but we're not live streaming to Snapchat. But we are working hard on Snapchat right now as well. So follow us in both those places. Then with that, let's talk a little bit about the weather. How do you guys feel about the weather right now? Because it's about to change. Weather is about to change. Let's move over to the Hubbard's Marina website. Go over to hubbardsmarina.com. We're going to click fishing trips. We're going to scroll down to the weather links page. And on our weather links page, we're going to hop over to the wind finder forecast area. The wind finder forecast area is going to show us what the weather is doing now. You can see here it's going to be a little breezy today, or tomorrow and into Tuesday, and then kind of through the work week, a little bit up and down with the weather, because we've got a cold front rolling through tonight, probably 10, 11, 12 o'clock tonight. A nice big old line. It's going to be out of the north blowing and getting breezy and chilly. Not too chilly, but a little chilly. And then Tuesday, that north wind's going to subside. That high pressure is going to settle in. The humidity, the heat will come right back pretty quickly. And that east wind will prevail through the work week. We'll have that new moon, and then the weekend we'll get a little bit of a southerly flow before potentially another weak front Monday, April 24th. So basically, cold front, high pressure, a little bit of a south wind, then another potential cold front is kind of the pattern that's setting up, which is odd because that's wintertime in Florida. Cold front, high pressure, south wind, cold front, high pressure, south wind, cold front, high pressure, south wind. That's what our winter is like from October-ish through February, March-ish. This year, winter ended in Florida in like early to mid-January, and it warmed up really fast. It was 80s for a lot of February, and then it got breezy in March and April, which is pretty normal, and now it seems like second winter is upon us. But these are really weak fronts. Tomorrow is going to be a pretty weak front. It's going to be more moderate than the one they forecast for April 24th, Monday. A little bit more moderate, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that we're getting back into this pattern. It's going to be sunny and 68 Tuesday morning, so it will be a little chilly for us here in Florida. Hopefully we will survive. But second winter is here. Fake spring is over, and hopefully second spring will be a little longer lasting for us. Now, a week from today, we do have a Bass Pro Shops fishing conversation. So if you want to come see us in person, if you want to come hang out and talk fishing and ask questions in person, come join us at Bass Pro Shops in Tampa a week from today. That's April 23rd at 2 p.m. We're going to be at Bass Pro Shops in Tampa. Hopefully you can join us. We always love to see our Hubbard's Marina family out there at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops. Again, that's this coming Sunday, a week from today, 2 p.m., April 23rd. And then also April 28th. So not this upcoming Friday, but the next final Friday. Big, huge Johns Pass wide party. Plus, at Hubbard's Marina, we want to thank our Hubbard's Marina family and give you guys free beer, free food, and crawfish, shrimp, lots of different seafood, and did I mention free beer? There's also free soda, free water. It's a great time, and it's a free time. So join us for Final Friday, April 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. You don't want to miss out on that. And then also May 2nd, we're going to be over there in Apollo Beach, which is the south shore of Tampa Bay. Apollo Beach at Finn's Fishing Club, Tuesday night, May 2nd at 7 p.m. Josh is dropping the links for these events in the chat, so definitely check out those Facebook groups, those Facebook event pages. If you go to our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, we have a lot of event pages. We're actually working on building out an events page of our website as well to help you kind of stay connected that way too. So lots of good events coming up, lots of in-person stuff coming up. I think it is time to give away our first free trip of the night. Let's go ahead and give away a 10-hour all-day trip. Let's do a 10-hour all-day trip for two lucky winners. So one person gets a certificate. It's a 10-hour all-day trip for two guests. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that 10-hour all-day trip for two guests. Tom Reinhardt. Congratulations, Tom, from, doesn't say, but he does say that it's getting cold here and he needs another Florida fix. So I would assume not from Florida. Great White North. Congratulations, Tom. You've got an excuse to come get your Florida fix because you got a free 10-hour trip for two guests if you claim it within 5 minutes by texting your full home address to the phone number on the screen. Remember, if you're picked as a lucky winner, you got 5 minutes or less to prove you're watching live. So text us at the phone number on the screen within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. So make sure you do that, Tom. Congratulations, buddy. All right, so we still got a 5-hour half day for two guests. We still got a Hubbard's Marina swag pack. And we've got that 39-hour fishing trip as well. So lots more coming up and it's time to get into your questions. So if you have a question you want answered, if you have a burning desire, if you just want to say hello, text us at the phone number on the screen. That's how you get your question answered live during the chat. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Trovo, if you're on YouTube, we can't see your question or your comments. If you're on Facebook, they're just moving too fast, so we don't get a chance to see your comments on the stream. So if you do want them answered live during the show, make sure you text them to our main office phone number, which is 727-393-1947. It's the phone number on the screen, y'all. So with that, let's see here. First, want to make sure we give a shout out to Rich Fletcher. Rich Fletcher sent us 500 stars. Appreciate you, Rich. Now, with that, let's get into some questions. First question is, did you catch the fishing pole thieves? No, we did not. And that reminds me, we should probably show you this awesome, hilarious photo. Yes, sir. Thank you, Josh. Read my mind. Could you navigate to the Captain Dylan Hubbard page? Thank you, Josh. Always thinking ahead. It's like he can understand what I'm going to ask him, or he already knows what I'm going to ask him. It's like we've got this great chemistry. All right, so here it. Okay. I thought it. There it is. Watch this. Watch this instant karma. So this guy just stole a fishing pole, ran to his car, stuffed it into his car, and crashed. Tried to back out of the parking spot and crashed. He's driving a Dodge Journey, a few years old. It's like a dark color. I want to say pretty much black or maybe really dark gray. But he slams into the cement piling and then backs out a second time and scrapes the front of his car, and then peels out in his mom's Dodge Journey at an alarming rate of speed. And that was one vehicle, but then there was also a few other vehicles. I'll take the mouse if you don't mind, Josh. Let's see here. We got, so this is the first car that pulled out. This is a late model Grand Marquis with a small tow hitch on the back. So this was the first gentleman who pulled out, and then behind him was his genius friend in the Dodge Journey that now has a massive dent in the back of it, which is hilarious. So those are the two vehicles we're looking for. If you spot them, make sure you call the non-emergency Pinellas County Sheriff Office line and let them know you spotted a thief and you need someone to come help you out, because we want to try to catch these folks. Or you can always call me. You see them burn out here? So funny. Got a Dodge Journey, and then he goes full speed around the corner and tries to exit. And when he tries to exit, there's an elevation change, and he slides out on that as well. So he was driving erratically, to say the least, after he stole 2 fishing pole rods and reels from one of the nicest guys I know. So really sad. Really sad. But hopefully we'll get him, and hopefully someone will identify him and make it easy for us to catch up with those super wonderful individuals. So next question is, what does the weather look like on the 25th? Hoping to get out there with my daughter and her boyfriend. So unfortunately, the weather is way untrustworthy that far out. So in the state of Florida, I really only trust the weather maybe 3 days, 4 days. You'll have an idea of what the weather's going to be like. 2 days, you have a more solid idea. 24 hours out, you really somewhat know. It's not going to change dramatically. But even 12 hours out, the weather can change pretty enough to go from borderline to cancel or borderline to nice. So it definitely is one of those things that asking about the weather for 11 days from now is going to be a situation, 9 days from now, it's going to be a situation where I could tell you what the forecast says right now, but it would be pretty much useless because of the fact that the weather can change so drastically. But right now, I can tell you the 24th, they're forecasting a cold front to come through. So most likely the fishing would be better right before that cold front. So I would suggest potentially thinking about the 23rd, which would be Sunday. If you're not going to Bass Pro Shops in Tampa at 2 p.m. to join us for our Bass Pro Shops fishing conversation, I would suggest going fishing as well. So next question, have you fished with crickets? I personally have never fished with crickets. On a recent radio show, on our Real Animals radio show, we do that every Saturday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. It was pretty funny. They were talking about using crickets for bait, and then they were talking about how this bait shop sells crickets, and I was like, what? I didn't even know there was like a cricket bucket, and I didn't know you could go to a bait shop and get crickets, and they use a cricket funnel. Did you know there's a cricket funnel, Josh? No. Yeah, they have like suction cup things, eyedroppers for crickets. You stick it in the cricket cage, it pulls them up, and then they use a cricket tube to measure the crickets. There's a whole cricket industry. Do you know there's cricket farms in Florida, dog?
Well, I know about cricket farms. You know, we used to just buy boxes of crickets.
Yeah. Did you know you could order boxes of crickets to your house in the postal service?
No, I did not know that.
Didn't know that either.
I know that I could go to the pet store and buy crickets, but
yeah. So I learned all this on a radio show 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and it was very entertaining. So I have not used crickets, and I just learned that you could buy them in the mail and that you can go to a tackle shop and get them. So wow. Ron's Tackle Box, shout out to Ron Shelfo at Ron's Tackle Box over there in Lakeland who made that possible for me. Rick Race, appreciate those stars, my man. Thank you very much, buddy.
Now somebody's going to send you 1,000 crickets.
No, don't, because I also heard that when you order crickets, a lot of times it also comes with spiders or potentially snakes. So they were talking about all the different other creatures that have come in the cricket boxes. And all I know is it would be a fiery death for a lot of crickets and probably my office if I opened. Because he was talking about, my last box of crickets had a black widow in it, and I got bit by the black widow spider. My hand really hurt, and I had to go to the hospital, and I was like, what?
Somebody would be 86.
So he was just, like, totally chilling. Yeah, I got bit by a black widow in my cricket box. It's just another day at the tackle shop. Wow. I was like, man, glad I don't bass fish.
I mean, a free snake, that's cool, But
I bass fished for a long time, and I had no idea that people did the cricket thing, caught the panfish, used them for bass bait. But it sounds like fun. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. Like, I did that recently with my son when we camped in Fort DeSoto. You start with a gold hook and a piece of bread to catch the minnow, to catch the pinfish, to catch the ladyfish, to catch the shark. And I always like doing that. You kind of upgrade, right? You catch a small fish to catch a little bigger fish to catch a little bigger fish. And it was fun at Fort DeSoto. We literally used bread to catch some small fish that caught some pinfish, ended up catching some ladyfish and cut pinfish, and then ended up catching a shark on the ladyfish. So it was pretty cool how we kind of went all the way up, and my son got a kick out of it as well. So pretty funny. Josh is like radar on MASH. It's funny because MASH was before my time, but I did watch a lot of MASH. My mom loved that show. So I know what you're talking about, and that is true. Did you watch MASH? Of course. It was a little before both of our times, but it's a classic.
It was still on TV when I was born.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was on TV, yeah, but it was on Turner Classic channels. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not that much older than me.
Not that much older.
I guess
I'm older.
Yeah. Sam said, "Can I buy the Hellman's mayonnaise shirt yet?" We ordered that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should have our Hellman's mayonnaise. Hubbard's Marina family secret recipe best mayo ever t-shirt.
But we did do something different this time though.
We switched it up on you.
Let me see if I
Are we premiering it? He's Maybe let's do the next question, and then you can pull it up. I think WhatsApp would probably be easiest on our WhatsApp thread.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Wanted to say hello. Love what you guys do. Keep on fishing. Thank you, Jenkins family from Ohio. We appreciate you. How shallow are the tuners? We're seeing the tuna anywhere from about 100 to 120 foot and beyond. The deeper you go, the better the chance you're going to get at catching some tuners. Blackfin tuna, though, are definitely 100 foot and beyond generally. Sometimes we get them shallower, but it is not often. I never hear cobia mentioned on your shows. Can you provide some tips and tricks to catch them? It's because cobia have not been prolific. The last 5 years or so, we've seen a massive decline in the number of cobia we run into. When I was a kid, 8 to 16 to 18, even 22 years old, we saw cobia a lot. I'm 32 now, and I would say in the last 5 years, cobia has become a rarity. So we just don't see the cobia like we have in the past. Some people blame warming Gulf temperatures. Some people blame the BP oil spill and all the crap that we dumped in the Gulf. Some people blame overfishing. There's a lot of different discussions surrounding it, but it's a pretty widespread, Gulf-wide sentiment that cobia in our offshore waters are in trouble. Have been for quite a number of years, and it seems to just continue. Now, you do see them inshore. We are seeing some around the flats and stuff in the bay, especially in cooler months. We see them around our power plants pretty heavily. We see them offshore occasionally, but it's one of those things that has become super rare, so we don't really talk about them heavily for that reason, just because we don't come across them a lot. But back in the day, we used to see them a lot. I would say now your best chance to catch cobia would be in the cooler months in the bay around our power plants and warm water sources, or this time of year around some of the artificial reefs. You can get lucky and find some pretty decent concentrations of cobia as well. So I would say if you're looking for cobia advice, 3 to 14 miles, target those artificial reefs. You can literally Google Pinellas County artificial reefs, and it will give you the public numbers of all our artificial reefs. And you could get out there with some soft plastic eels on a bucktail, throw those around for the cobia, or try to sight fish the cobia with some soft plastics. Long, dark-colored eel-looking baits are a great option for the cobia. Are we showing that, Josh? Josh has our Hellman's Mayonnaise t-shirt ready for you guys. So at first we were doing a jar front and back, but we decided to go just labels so we could get it a little bigger. And our friends over at Salinity have made it possible. And there's the front of the shirt. Hubbard's the original, 100% locally sourced and gluten-free.
Can't forget that gluten-free.
100% gluten-free. And then the back of the shirt, you can't really read it here, but you'll be able to read it in person, of course. Has our website, our logo, and then the steps for our Hubbard family secret recipe. So
now we are trying to get prices on double-sided magnets.
Yep.
In the shape of the jar so that you guys can throw in your fridges, and stickers.
Yes, sir.
Of the jar as well. So.
Stickers and magnets for your fridge. So you can have our Hubbard's Marina family recipe right there on your fridge. Craig Robinson, what's up, my man? Thanks for the stars, buddy. Appreciate you, dog. So excited about our mayonnaise shirt. So it is coming soon. Let's see what other questions. Jeff wanted to say thank you for the awesome 39-hour trip. They had a blast with some new guests. That's awesome. Good to hear, Jeff. Thanks for coming again, my brother. Let's see here. I'm thinking of getting a Daiwa 30 for the 10-hour trips. You prefer lever or star drag, and what rod would you put that on? A Daiwa 30. I'd probably put that on either the 15 to 30 or the 20 to 40. Maybe the 30 to 80 if you like a stiffer, more stout blink. But I would say the red wrapped 20 to 40 from Bull Bay, or the Fletcher's custom rods in the shop. We've got a 15 to 30 and a 20 to 40, which are pretty bad to the bone as well. So a couple different options for you in the shop to match up with that reel. And as far as the reel goes, lever or star drag. Star drag is going to be a little bit more affordable. Lever drag is a little bit more technical and a little bit more money as well. Someone asked, do you go TikTok live when fishing? So a lot of people do that now. It's like a thing. I wish we could, but we don't have internet offshore as of now. We are working on that, and potentially might have some Wi-Fi options for the boat soon. But at this time, we couldn't go TikTok live while fishing because we don't have internet service. But if we have internet service offshore, the plan is to live stream everything, if at all possible. So definitely one of the goals and one of the things we're working towards. But as of now, no, because we don't have cell service to live stream. So let's go ahead and do our next giveaway before we get into some more questions. Our next giveaway, we did our 10-hour trip. Let's give away our swag pack, the Hubbard's Marina swag pack. This is a free shirt, hat, and Hubbard's Marina sticker. Remember, if you're the lucky winner of the swag pack, we not only need your home address to the phone number on the screen, but we also need your t-shirt size. So make sure if you're picked as a lucky winner, you include that for us. So lucky winner of the swag pack is Mark Garcia. Congratulations, Mark Garcia, on your Hubbard's Marina swag pack win. That is Mark from Tampa. Congratulations, my brother. You got about 5 minutes to text us your full home address and your t-shirt size to the phone number on the bottom of the screen. We still got that 5-hour half day for 2 and a 39-hour for 1, so don't go nowhere. And let's see here. What other questions do we have? Y'all said you needed to bring at least a 100-pound test line. Would a 100-pound braid do? Yes and no. So I assume you're probably talking about potentially the 12-hour extreme or 39-hour for your biggest possible rod. You could use braid, but I wouldn't recommend it, especially when we're talking that heavier mono or heavier line. Mono works wonders, and I really prefer mono when bottom fishing for bigger fish like that, because if you catch an amberjack or a big gag grouper on braided line, it's going to kick your butt, it's going to beat you up, and it's probably going to spit the hook or come off the hook more easily. And the other fifth thing is, if you get tangled up, it's going to cause you a lot of heartache, potentially lose the fish, and it's going to make it really, really tricky. So I would strongly suggest, if you're going to spool your reel with anything heavy, go straight mono. There's really no need for braid unless you're fishing super deep water or you're fishing super light line for extreme sensitivity for smaller fish like mangrove snapper, or you're fishing 200, 250, 400 foot of water or more. Then braided line becomes important. If you're using it as a pitch rod, if you're slow pitch jigging, these are all reasons that you might need some braided line. Outside of that, you absolutely do not need braided line, and it's not really recommended, especially for that heavy stuff. But could you? Yes. Would I recommend it? No. Hopefully that answered your question. How is fishing from the beach around Father's Day? Father's Day is in June, right? Isn't it? Believe so. So fishing from the beach around Father's Day, there's a lot of people. A lot of people out there, so I would get there early, fish from the beach in the early morning, hit the pass in the early morning. Snook would be a great option. You'd see some whiting out there, some silver trout out there, potentially, but mostly In the summertime, you're going to see snook, maybe some black drum, maybe some whiting, maybe some bonnethead sharks. There's a lot of bonnethead sharks out there in the summertime. Spinner sharks, blacktip sharks. You could use lures, but I would get out there in the early morning with polarized sunglasses and look for those snook cruising the beaches, pompano potentially as well. But probably snook would be the biggest target early morning before the swimmers are out there, before the wind starts picking up. The calm of the early morning just after sunrise is when I'd be working those beaches, casting at a 45 to 60 degree angle away from yourself, down or up the beach, and working your lures right along that swash channel or that little gully that runs parallel to the beach with a little like white plastic paddle tail and an 1/8 ounce jig head or live shrimp or live pinfish or pigfish, and look for those snook cruising and present that bait just in front of them, and you'll have a really good shot at hooking up. And you can use lighter tackle. You really need to use lighter tackle because it can definitely get seen. So you need a small hook. You need super light tackle, like a 10-pound, 15-pound fluorocarbon, and like a size 1 or 1/0 hook. Very small hook for shizzle. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Who makes your killer sticks? The killer stick rod is, we made the killer stick rod. We designed those with O'Hara, I believe, back in the day. Wondering when my swag pack is coming. We will have to look into that for you. Let's see what other questions. Thanks for sending us the information. We'll definitely check into that for you and see what happened. Good evening. This is Mark Garcia. Oh, yep. Congratulations, buddy. Uh-oh. We blanked out on questions. Pulling it back up. As we get deeper into the questions, do you allow a small dog on any of your trips? Okay, this is for the live show. I was like, is this for the live show? But it is. We don't recommend, actually, to answer the question, no, we don't allow dogs on our trips. But if it's a service animal that's trained for a specific ability to help someone with a disability, then we allow them on our trips. We just strongly discourage them because of the fact that fishing can be extremely dangerous for dogs with hooks and bait and sharp objects laying around. It can make it real dangerous. Do you expect red grouper to shut down early again this year? The answer is extremely early. So red grouper closed in 2021 in September, in 2022 in August, and this year in 2023 we're expecting probably a June closure on red grouper. And the reason why is 2021 they closed in September and they overran the quota by like 73% in the recreational fishery. 2022 they closed in August and overran the quota by like 62%. So this year the idea is close even earlier to prevent the overage because everybody agrees the red grouper fishery is healthy and the red grouper fishery is growing, and we should grow the catch level, meaning we should have a longer, more sustainable season. But we keep allowing overruns in the recreational fishery because we have shit for data collection. Excuse my French, but I'm very passionate about the fact that we have terrible data collection systems. And we finally had a good data collection system in place for federal for-hire recreational fishermen on party boats and charter boats. And the charter boat guys down there in Southwest Florida and the guys up there in Venice, Louisiana got together and thought it was really good to sue the federal government over the recreational data collection program. And so now We were working towards becoming an accountable fishery where we could lower discard uncertainty and improve the accountability of the fishery and decrease the management uncertainty and the scientific uncertainty that causes us to have buffers and really improve access to the fishery and allow for longer, more sustainable, and more accountable seasons that you could really count on. And these super bright businessmen got together and said, we don't like being accountable or having seasons that we can count on. We're going to sue the government over it because we're worried about government overreach into a government-regulated fishery. So just pretty silly, pretty frustrated. Don't want to go into it too much because I'll get worked up. And no one wants that. We don't have enough show for that. But long story short, we have no idea how many people are fishing in federal waters in the recreational fishery. No one can tell you how many people go into the Gulf of Mexico federal waters as recreational fishermen every day and fish. How many trips do they make? How many people are on the boat? What do they catch? What do they catch and keep? What do they catch and discard? This information is all survey-based, and they used extrapolations. So they get a very small sample size and then ask those people through surveys what they caught and kept, what they caught and released, and then they extrapolate that data over a geographic region. So they use random stratified samplings in super small sample size to extrapolate data, which is basically a really, really fancy way of saying that they spend a lot of taxpayer dollars to essentially make educated guesses at how to manage our fishery. And we had real-time data collection, and people are like, the commercial fishermen are catching all the fish in the Gulf, and they're killing everything out there. The commercial fishermen have a much smaller quota than recreational fishermen. Normally, it's like 70-30, 80-20, 60-40, meaning recreational fishermen have 2/3 or even 3/4 of the quota, and the commercial fishermen have to hail out 3 hours prior to making a landing. So when they go fishing, they have to hail out and let the feds know when they're leaving, where they're leaving from. They have to account for every single fish that's caught and kept, every single fish that's caught and released, and they have to bring observers offshore. And then prior to coming back to the dock, they have to tell the feds 3 hours ahead of time, I'm coming back to the dock at this time, and I'm coming back to the dock at this location, and I have this many pounds of fish on the boat. And then when they get to the dock, they have to work with a certified, licensed seafood dealer who has to then account for every single ounce of fish that comes across that dock. So not only does the fisherman, but also the seafood dealer do checks and balances on that catch down to the ounce. So the commercial fishery is the most overregulated, government overreached, entwined fishery. And you know where 98% of your recreational data comes from? The commercial fishery, because they're the only ones who take it upon themselves to actually give the data that's required. The fisheries dependent science is super important, and the recreational fishermen on charter boats and party boats were almost there. We had it. We had the Seafire program stood up. We were hailing out. We were hailing in. We were doing reports. We were accounting for every single ounce of fish that was caught in our vessel. And the guys up there in Venice, Louisiana, ruined it. So big shout out to the guys at Mexican Gulf Charters for being super smart with our Gulf fishery. We really appreciate you. See. All right, I'm going to move on. What time is it? We got 20 minutes or 10 minutes left. We got more time. Let's see. What other questions do we have, Josh? We're doing it. Is it time for a giveaway? We're changing gears. All right. So we did a 10-hour trip. We did the swag pack. It's time for a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Bill Levert. Congratulations. Had fresh trout for dinner Friday night. Congratulations, Bill, and your fresh trout. You just won a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. That's going to give you some fresh gray snapper for dinner next week. Let's see. what other question do we have? That's a good one right there on the bottom. Release mortality kills more. So release mortality is a big issue, and release mortality should be extremely low if you are following the best practices, meaning get the fish up quick, get them off the hook quick, use a proper dehooking tool so you're not handling the fish, and then make sure you have a venting tool or a descending device. And people are like, the descending devices don't work. Yes, they do. There's scientific proof that shows one time they caught a speckled hind, also known more commonly as a Kitty Mitchell grouper, in 480 foot of water, and used a descending device to send that Kitty Mitchell grouper back down to bottom, and it was caught 6 months later in over 800 foot, 10 miles away. And the fish had grown a few inches, so not only did it get released heavily after being caught in over 400 foot, almost 500 foot of water, and then it went to 800 foot and grew and got healthy. So descending devices work. Get your fish up quick, get them off the hook quick, and get them back in the water quickly. Now, release mortality is super high when people reel them up and then wonder what kind of fish it is and take 10 minutes on their phone to figure out what kind of fish it is and can I keep it, and then take a 10-minute Instagram photo shoot with it, drop it on the deck 10 times in the 90-degree summertime heat. Yeah, that fish is going to die. And nothing frustrates me more than someone sharing a big photo of a 25-pound red snapper they have with 10 smaller red snapper floating dead behind them because they didn't want to keep the 2 red snapper they already caught. They wanted to keep the big one, so they just kept catching red snapper and throwing them back dead because they weren't using a descending device, they weren't using a vending tool, they weren't using a proper dehooking device, and they're just killing fish to try to get that one big one. That's called high grading. That's illegal and ethically wrong. And yes, that is the reason the South Atlantic doesn't have a red snapper season. What's happening in the South Atlantic, meaning the east coast of Florida, their red snapper season has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk, and now it's down to almost nothing because they don't have any recreational data collection or commercial data collection, and they don't want it. And they keep trying to fight against it. So guess what they have now? Almost no season, no access, and now they're talking about totally closing bottom fishing completely, meaning a bottom fishing season. So like certain months of the year, you won't even be able to go bottom fishing because of the discard mortality from releasing fish. The fishery is healthy. There's more red snapper out there. They want to increase the catch levels, but they can't because they keep overrun the quota from the discards. And they're guessing at the discard number through, guess what, surveys and extrapolations. And it's a really frustrating circle you get caught in. The fishery's healthy, there's more fish out there, but they can't increase the quota because you keep overrunning the quota, and you keep overrunning the quota because there's so many people out there fishing and discarding fish, and they're throwing fish back dead, so it's filling the quota, and it just goes in this death spiral. And that's what's happening. They're spiraling down to the point where they just want people to stop going out into federal waters, totally stop bottom fishing, and that will prevent the issue for them to be able to increase the quota and actually open up a valid season. So super, super frustrating. We don't want to get to that. Was that a sarcasm question, Joshua? You weren't pointing to that one? I'm using a quick change for hooks and lures might deter fish away. What is your opinion on that? Yes. Don't use a quick change. Learn how to tie a knot. So you can definitely tie knots, like learning a nail knot, learning a clinch knot. You can learn how to tie those extremely quickly, a lot faster than you could use a snap swivel to switch out lures. For these big fingers, I can tie a knot way faster than I could use an easy change out to change lures. So I would strongly recommend avoiding any extra terminal tackle. So a swivel, a hook, a lead is all terminal tackle. The less terminal tackle you have, the better. There's more people fishing than ever before. That means these fish see more hooks and more lures and more leaders than ever before. These fish aren't dumb. They're smart Got to think like a fish. I say it a lot. It's like presentation at a really nice restaurant. You go to a $15 steakhouse, your steak comes out, it looks okay on the plate, but you go to a steakhouse for your birthday dinner or your 10-year wedding anniversary and you spend $150 on a plate, that thing comes out and you're like, oh my gosh, they carved your name in the bone. It's they've got like some crazy design with the lemon wedge going on. The presentation is stellar, and you see the plate and you're like, that's the most beautiful steak I've ever seen in my life. That's presentation. Presentation is important for yourself. It's also important for the fish. Real important. So using the proper tackle, which is minimal terminal tackle and minimal hook presentation, making a real natural presentation, making sure that leader's nice and stretched out and straight on the bottom, making sure that bait is as far away from your egg sinker as possible, making sure you're holding bottom and keeping that lead perfectly still, your line tight enough to feel the lead but not disturb the lead on the bottom. These are ways that you're going to ensure you get that better fish to give you a bite and give you a chance. Then you have to hook it. Then you have to successfully bring it up from the bottom. So that's what makes fishing challenging and fun. Let's see. What ounce weight do I need for the 44-hour trip? I would bring 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and maybe even a 16-ounce weight. But we mostly fish 6 and 8 ounce weights. It's always a good idea to have a couple 10s, maybe a 12-ounce, maybe even a 16-ounce. But really, most of the time, 6, 8, and 10-ounce weights, I would say. 8 and 10 ounce is a good option, too. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Also, each page of the website has tackle suggestions as well. Are tarpon fun to catch? Yeah, they're a ton of fun to catch. Our buddy Bobby Woodard at Fly'em High Charters runs tarpon charters. Of course, 866 Game Fish. Our buddy Capt Mike Anderson, Real Animals, runs tarpon charters. There's a ton of great tarpon fishing guides around. I would strongly recommend calling Mike Anderson, 866 Game Fish. Definitely can put you on a tarpon trip. They're a lot of fun, but they are catch and release, get them to the boat quick, take your picture quick, get them back in the water, or not even back in the water. They can't leave the water. Get them unhooked and away from the boat quickly. So it's not something that you're going to take home a big bag of fillets, and it's not something that you're guaranteed we're going to catch 10 tarpon today. You might not catch one. You might only catch one. You might catch two. A great tarpon fishing 6 or 8 hour trip is just 1 or 2 or 3 fish. So definitely one of those situations where it's a lot of fun, but not something you're going to take home a bag of meat from. Kind of like shark fishing, right? Let's see here. I see a guy on the 39-hour trip using 5 hooks. Can anybody do this? Looks effective. Why doesn't everybody? Because I would never, ever use a rig on a 39-hour trip with more than 2 hooks. I might use a double snell rig where I put 2 hooks into one bait. Some people like to use what's called a porgy rig or a high-low rig where you have a weight on the bottom, and then like 6 to 10 inches up, you have a little leader coming off with a hook, and then maybe another 12 inches up, you have another hook coming off. That's called a porgy rig or a high-low rig. Typically 2 hooks. Sometimes people tie ones with 3. If I ever saw someone using more than 3, I would question it. You really don't need that. I mean, the reason you would use that high-low rig or that porgy rig is you're using cut squid on the rig or cut bonita on the rig to catch vermilions and porgies and trying to catch a lot of them really quickly. But me personally, I would never use that rig because you're not going to catch the quality fish. That 6, 8, 10-pound mangrove snapper is too smart to bite that style of rig. I'm going to use a cut thread fin, trim the tail, trim the head, trim the belly, put that on a double snell rig, and then go back to that presentation we just talked about, right? The presentation on a high-low rig or a porgy rig is terrible. Presentation on that perfectly trimmed, manicured piece of thread fin with 2 hooks buried inside that bait strategically to make it disappear. And that nice long 4 or 5 foot leader stretched out away from that minimal sized egg sinker. That's the presentation of that $120 steak. That's got its name carved in the bone of that bait waiting for that 9-pound mangrove. That high-low rig is looking for anything and everything that's going to swim by that'll eat a piece of squid to bite it. It's indiscriminate. It's really about catching meat. So it depends on your style of fishing. Now, some people go out there and they just want a stringer of fish. They don't care what kind of fish it is. They just want to catch as many fish as quickly as possible. That's your rig. Use a high-low rig or a porgy rig with pieces of squid. You'll have a massive stringer of porgies, vermilions, almacos. You'll get plenty of fish, but you're not going to catch the jackpot-winning mangrove snapper like that. What? Are we out of time? We are out of time. Man, I was just getting on a roll, man. But now I really want a steak.
Well, that's the perfect reason to continue the conversation over on our supporters page.
That's true. The supporters after show, we can keep the conversation going. If you want to become a supporter, it's only $4.99 a month. You get a little bit more behind the scenes stuff and a little bit more connectivity, communication, and it's a great time. So check out the supporters group. Josh just dropped the link in the chat. It's also at the top of our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. You can always find Become a Supporter Today. It's a button at the top of our Facebook page. Please make sure you check out the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, the Captain Dylan Hubbard Instagram page. Check out Hubbard's Marina on TikTok. Make sure you give us a follow. Tell your friends to follow us on TikTok, Snapchat, Trovo, Twitch, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, all those different places. We're really working hard at social media this year to bring it to a whole nother level. Let's bring it to a whole nother level. So hopefully you guys can help us out. You always do a great job. We really appreciate all the support on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. Those are definitely our 3 biggest social media platforms, but we're really trying hard on Snapchat and TikTok and a little bit on Twitter. But to be honest, I still don't really understand Twitter. Never really got on the Twitter bandwagon, but we're going to try. We're gonna slowly try. So appreciate everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. Remember, if you see us post anything on any social media, make sure you like it, make sure you comment, because if you don't, social media won't show it to you. There's an algorithm, right? And if you don't like it, if you don't comment, if you don't interact with us, you won't see us. So make sure you interact, make sure you drop a comment, give us a like, give us a share if you can. We appreciate it. And then reminder, we have that new schedule, right? So every morning around sunrise, you can catch us live on TikTok and Instagram. Then just after 8 o'clock every morning, we're live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch from the jetty, watching the boat leave and go underneath the bridge. So jetty, beach, bridge, boat leaving just after 8 a.m., YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and then around sunrise on TikTok and Instagram every morning as well. So join us. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you like the page. Come out and see us next week, a week from today, the 23rd of April, 2 p.m. at Tampa Bass Pro Shops. We're going to be giving away free trips. Tuesday, May 2nd, Apollo Beach at Finn's Fishing Club, 7 p.m. That's open to the public. So if you're not a part of Finn's Fishing Club, you can still come. It's free. They will have a buffet there, which is free for Finn's Fishing Club members. If you're not a member of the club, it's only $15 for the buffet. There is a bar there, so you can sit there, drink, have the buffet, and we can talk fishing. It's beautiful. It's outside. We'll watch the sunset as we talk fishing. It's definitely going to be the most beautiful seminar space that I've ever had personally, so I'm excited. And also, final Friday, every last Friday of the month, 6 to 9 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you guys there. And then we'll see all of our supporters for our supporters after show. Appreciate all of you guys for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Thank you for everybody who sent stars tonight. The stars are a huge way to fuel the show. Yukimi Barker, Craig Robinson, Bobby Marie, Rick Race, appreciate all those stars at the end there for us. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to check out our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Make sure you stop on by and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. With that, it is time to do our last free trip of the night. We're going to give away a 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. One lucky winner, 39-hour trip. Let's see who that winner is. Bum, bum, bum. Dan Burnett, my man, what's going on? Congratulations, Dan, on that lucky 39-hour win. Make sure you got 5 minutes or less to claim it. Text us right there at the phone number on the screen. Congratulations, my brother. Now, we'll see the rest of you guys for our supporters after show in the private supporters group, Hubbard's Marina supporters page. We'll see you there in, let's call it 8:50. 8:50, we're going to start up the supporters after show. We'll see everybody else next week for another episode of the live stream show. Every morning on TikTok and Instagram at sunrise, and then every morning just after 8 a.m. on Facebook, Trovo, and Twitch. Y'all have a good night. Don't forget, you're too busy to go fishing. You're just too darn busy. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys.